Good morning, IOL student. My name is Jacqueline Bock and I am your tutor. It's the year 2022. You have been enrolled for the program, be it honors degree. We are doing a Life Science 3 and it's year 1 and semester 1. The purpose for this presentation is to gear you to just do your utmost best and be ready for the examination. We will be starting right away. Let's just quickly look at the outline for this presentation. We will be dealing with Unit 1, and you will be seeing that Unit 1 is mainly dealing the policy features of life skills in Namibia. Looking at Unit 2, we will be dealing there with the selected content of senior primary phase and related teaching methodology issues. Unit 3, then we just move to the junior secondary phase, and Unit 4, then we move there to the senior secondary phase. And Unit 2, 3, and 4, the main focus are on the teaching methodology issues. Let's continue to Unit 5. There we will be looking at the roles and responsibilities of the life skills teacher. Of course, we know that we have a list of responsibilities that we need to adhere to. Unit 6 focuses on the phases of evolution of the world of work and career counseling theories. Unit 7, that one focuses on the relationship of multiple intelligences of life skills and career counseling. And the last one, it's 8, that one focuses on the elements of daily classroom processes to develop life skills. It's quite a lengthy list. But I think that after we've had this engagement today, you will feel much comfortable in preparing and also knowing that you are going to make the best out of this intervention. Looking at the B.Ed honors life skills, the outcomes that we need to focus on. There is also a list, and the purpose of an outcome gives you direction. Any outcome tells you this is where I am heading to. Now the purpose of this intervention, it is to achieve the following outcomes. You as a student, you must be able to analyze policy features in life skills in Namibia, and then just focus also on the verb there. You also need to explain selected content. We've already looked at the selected content. We refer to it, and we also refer to related teaching methodologies. It's just here a matter of the phases that differ. So the first one is the focus is on 5 to 7. And then we are talking about the analysis selected content or analyze selected content of the junior secondary phase. That is now 8 to 10, and the relating teaching issues. The next one is that you as a student, you should be able to discuss selected content of the junior secondary phase. Now the junior secondary phase is grade 11 and 12 and related teaching methodologies. Looking at the next one, we see that one deals with to appraise the roles and responsibilities of the life skills teacher. We also touch it there when we refer to the units that we will be dealing with in this presentation. Next one that you must be able to do, it is you must be able to evaluate the phases of evolution of the world of work and career counseling theories. You need to be up to date with, certain career counseling methodologies and theories. Next one is to examine the relationship of multiple intelligences with life skill and career counseling. And then, of course, you must be able to discuss elements of daily classroom processes to develop life skills. Now that you know where we are heading to, I think that we are ready to proceed. Let's talk about your assignment. Let's see what the components of your assignment, what should your assignment consist of. First of all, it's imperative that your assignment should have a cover page, and the cover page is provided by IOL. You must make sure that you have a table of content, and then your assignment should have an appropriate introduction. I would like to elaborate on the introduction. Do not bother to start when you say, for example, you have been, or you would want to start with an assignment. You don't start that moment with an introduction. You first complete the assignment and then you come to the introduction, because what is an introduction? It just introduces the marker of what is to follow in this assignment. So then you will say, this assignment or this paper is set to discuss A, B, C, and D. So you just have a brief introduction after you have completed the work. Sometimes students spend a lot of time. They would want now to start with the introduction. No, start with answering the questions and come back to the introduction and the conclusion later. The next thing, then you must have the assignment content. You need to prepare, you need to do some research and to read a lot. You need to know the content, and then you will be able to do the assignment. Conclusion, this is it's not the final part. It concludes the assignment part. After that, you still need to have a bibliography as well. If you use any sources besides the provided study material, or if you quote the study material, we know that using somebody else's idea as your own, that is plagiarism. So if you make use of somebody else's idea, even if you have paraphrased the sentence or the paragraph, you will have to acknowledge the original author who exactly or originally came up with this idea. We move on to the assignment, to the next part of the assignment. Then the format of the assignment is the same of that of the examination paper. So when you do your assignment, then you actually get a glimpse of your examination paper. You need to pay attention to the format of the different questions and the manner in which they are set. So it's very important. If you do this, then it will prepare you for what to expect in the examination. It's actually, it gives you a feeling of what it's like to write an examination paper. It cannot be emphasized enough. The assignment is preparation for the examination. So you need to invest a lot of time in order to be successful. When you invest the time for the assignment, then you have already started to prepare for your examination. You are expected to type your answer in the spaces provided below each question. Then you must upload the assignment onto the student portal. The file which you upload must be in Word 2013 to Word 2016 format, and uses a docs file extension. Just check there, DOCX. Then you need to follow all the instructions for the assignment carefully. Right. If we move on, then you will see we have plagiarism, and it's what I have referred to. I copied everything straight from the internet. If you make yourself guilty of that, it's not your work. If you read something that you would want to use in your assignment, you shouldn't copy it from the internet. You should read it, interpret it, paraphrase it, and then acknowledge the original author, the person who came up with this idea initially. If you do not give that person that recognition, you make yourself guilty of plagiarism. There is a link provided which you can access later to read up more about plagiarism. We move to the examinations. You should just bear one thing in mind. The purpose for this presentation is to get yourself ready for the examination. So make sure that you familiarize yourself with the entire content of your study guide. It's always good to know your work. You need to invest time, you need to study, you need to get to a point where you are confident about the knowledge that you have acquired during the semester. And this one is emphasized. Be very clear on what the question asks. If the question asks to explain, you cannot list. If the question requires you to list, then you cannot explain. So look at the verb that accompanies each question. The verb use and the level of thinking. So whatever verb they use, if it's a list, then it's a lower level. If it's criticize, or if it's evaluate, or if it's analyze, then it goes up to the HOTS. Now what is HOTS? HOTS is higher order thinking skills. LOTS is lower order thinking skills. Your examination will compile or will consist out of a combination of LOTS, which is lower order thinking, and HOTS, which is higher order thinking. The verb will tell you what the level you should prepare to answer that particular question. You must be able to express yourself clearly when you answer questions. Marking is done holistically. What does this mean? We, as the markers, we ask ourselves, can the student think beyond what is written in the study guide? Don't work just within the parameters of the study guide. We will see if you have done, extra reading, if you have done extra research, and that will make you stand out. And that will give you, at the end of the day, you will be credited if the marker sees that this student has got a very good command of what is expected from his or her, or from him or from her. Then, does it make sense? Does your answer make sense to the one who is marking your work? Is it logically answered? Can they connect? It's you. Can the student connect to other dimensions in life? So these are the questions that the examiner normally asks him or herself before awarding marks. Let's now concentrate on Unit 1, Policy Features of Life Skills in Namibia. Holistic approach in life skills. Holistic education encompasses a wide range of philosophical orientations and focuses on the wholeness of the human being. When we refer to holistic, we connect it to wholeness as a unit together. It is a fairly new movement and practice in the mid-1980s in the United States of America. At the heart of holistic education lies the development of the finest, greatest, most ultimately developed person possible. This includes the spiritual, the psychological, and the physical objective. Let's move to the next slide. We still deal with the policy features, and here we will be looking at the 4 pillars of learning in holistic education. There are 4 pillars of learning. First of all, the first pillar is learning to learn. And you will see that learners ask questions in the search for knowledge. Now, you may have come across a situation where students ask questions non-stop. And then sometimes this may irritate the teacher. But this is how they acquire knowledge. They acquire knowledge by the fact that they continuously need to ask questions. So learners ask questions in their search of knowledge. Otherwise, they won't be able to know things. The purpose is not so much for the question to be answered, but they explore learning as a means to empower their consciousness and to exercise skill. The next point of the next pillar is learning to do. Once they know what is learning to learn, what they can learn, then they learning to do. Now they learn to do things. Young people need to learn how to change society through intelligence and responsible actions. The actions is what they do, how they do it, responsible and intelligent actions. If we look in the era that we are living in currently, we sometimes are amazed when we see that people, even adults, they do not take responsibility for their actions, and this is quite cumbersome. Learning to do also applies to learning to do productive work, and learning to adapt to the needs of work and to work in a team. You know, a student should know that productivity is important. And being productive is just not to sit on your own island and to work alone. You must be able to work in a team. Because when we at school level, we prepare our students for the workforce. And if we see these shortcomings, these gaps, and these gaps are not, attended to, then we will send out, young people into the workforce who are not ready to be there, not ready emotionally. They don't care about productivity. They don't care about being able to work as a team. So it's already at school level that we need to instill all these characteristics. The next slide is, we are now busy with the third pillar, learning to live together. Young people need to learn how to respect others, be responsible towards others, and how to cooperate with others. It actually slots in with the previous one. Not only to be able to do things, correctly and being productive, being able to work in a team, but also to respect people, be responsible toward them, and also to be able to work together to cooperate with others. They need to develop skills to overcome prejudice, dogmatism, discrimination, and authoritarianism. So these are the things. Now let's look at a prejudice. Prejudice, if you have a preconceived, belief that I don't like this person. There's no reason, there is no evidence, but you have made up your mind. Or you like it. It can be a dislike or it can be a like. Or the situation or the stores. So don't preempt things about people. Don't assume this is the truth. You haven't even met, you just maybe heard about somebody, and then you make up your own, judgment of the particular person. Dogmatism is normally when your opinion, it's actually an opinion, but this opinion is communicated as a fact, as evidence, as if there is evidence. You see, so it's not evidence-based, but you express yourself and you want to influence other people, but you don't have valid facts to prove your judgments. Discrimination We know that what discrimination is, to treat people differently. And authoritarianism, you must cut this one, eh? You must help me, yeah? I'll just continue. I have a problem with the word, yeah? Authoritarianism. So the word is authoritarianism. What is authoritarianism? When we deal with authoritarianism, then you enforce, it's like a strict, obedient authority at the expense of other people. You don't need to be so strict, but you are so strict, and then it makes other people unhappy. So this is also a problem. Learning to be, it's the last one day, the fourth one. People need to discover the true nature of being human. This goes beyond the psychic and is learning to belong to the whole. So with that, we conclude that section, but we're still busy with Unit 1, which is the policy features of life skills in Namibia. Now, if you look, we have presented you with a list. And this list is different resources to capture the interest of learners. So what can you do? In what kind of activities can you involve students to keep their interest or to capture their interest? There's a list of 10. We can quickly just go through them. First one is to discuss. Let them discuss contemporary issues, things that happen in society. Investigate. Give them something to investigate. Let them provide the evidence. They say they made a judgment, and let them go and investigate whether that judgment is true. Create interact worksheets, so you can let them work on worksheets. Vocabulary, task analysis, role play, practicing in real situations, social stories, and groups. So those are 11 items. We have 11 items in the list, and those are different resources to capture students' interest. The next one is the value of life skills. It's a subject, When we do life skills, it should not be opportunity where students just do nothing. The subject is a value, and and I believe that the subject is actually the heartbeat of the school curriculum. We are living in a broken society, and it's here where we as the life skills teacher can sense broken learners, broken students, and then we can do some mending. We can try, be to their assistance, and then we can help them to overcome emotional issues or other issues that they are dealing with. We as the life skills students in this subject help promote mental wellness in the development of competence in young people as they learn how to cope with realities in life. So first of all, our focus is to help them to promote mental wellness. Then learners will be able to translate knowledge, attitudes, and values into healthy behavior. The next one, acquire the ability to reduce health risk, because we need to discuss things about health and risks that are connected to health, and adopt healthy behavior that will improve their lives in general. The next one is the learners need to be able to say no to negative peer pressure. We know about the consequences of peer pressure. Due to peer pressure, a child can become a school dropout, because the child is being influenced by the peers, and the child does not know that he can say no. And this life skills period is the excellent opportunity to teach learners that you can you may and you should say no if you are not happy with a decision made by a friend, especially to negative peer pressure and pressure to engage in sexual relationship at an early stage. So you have a responsibility to teach these students to say no. We can say no in a decent manner. We don't need to be rude. This can be done decently. Learner-centered paradigm. We have moved away from a teacher-centered paradigm where the learner is just a receiver of the knowledge. With a learner-centered paradigm is we learn together. You just facilitate the discussion, but we talk together, we learn from one another. Instruction changes from teacher-centered, content-driven to learner-centered and learning process-driven. Learners engage in learning experiences, not only learn the content, but they are also engaged in the process of how to learn and how to develop long life learning skills. They become active participants in the lesson. As I said, with this participatory learning, they become active participants. Teacher becomes less of an instructor, and the learners communicate and take responsibility for the learning process. This is when we refer to a learner-centered paradigm. The teacher's role changes from one with all the knowledge to that of being a learning mediator who assumes the following role. So you, as the teacher, you're going to take the following roles. You are the designer of learning tasks, so you create the learning task, and a creator of a conducive environment that stimulates learning. That is your responsibility. You are a guide that works side by side with the learners. You will evaluate the learning outcomes, and you will use the assessment to give feedback to learners to improve the learning process. So this is the role that you will be taking. Then learners spend less time receiving instructions and information and more time engaged in learning activities. So if we focus on the learner-centered paradigm, you will have to cover all these aspects that we just looked at. You see two images there. You see the teacher-directed and the learner-directed. You will see that the teacher is in control, and those learners, they must just receive. They don't participate. But if we are in the learner-directed, it's much more interactive, it's fun. The teacher is in the middle, but knowledge is shared with everybody, and anybody must feel free to share knowledge. We learn from one another. The next item that we will be looking at is respect. Teachers are role models. That's why there are certain characteristics that are connected to being a role model. The teacher must be honest, and if you're honest, then you must also be able to admit guilt. If you were wrong, then you must say, I was wrong. Do not embarrass, insult, or make fun of learners. Praise learners when they deserve it. Trusting your students must trust you. Students need to understand that learners also need to be allowed to make choices and responsibilities for their deeds, and to take responsibility for their deeds. The teacher must be fair. It is important that the teacher listens to learners, to their side of the story before reaching a conclusion. We shouldn't just jump to conclusions. We must first listen. We must become good listeners. We must be polite. Teachers need to understand the importance of the words thank you and please, and demonstrate the use of these to learners. When you interact with the learners, you must be polite. And just being kind and using this will help you to, to gain their trust, and and they are also going to be polite with you. The way you treat them is how they treat you. Then selected content, it's unit 2, selected content of senior primary phase and related teaching methodology issues. There are certain steps to improve conduct in the class, and you need to elaborate on these steps. The teacher together with learners, they can develop, first of all, you need to develop the class rules, and it's always good if they are part of this intervention. Then they will be able to abide by what you have decided together. The reason for learners to be in the class, and because they learn to learn, and the following will influence their behavior in the class. Respect the teacher and other learners. Be tolerant towards other ethnic groups and cultures. Participate in class. Be obedient and listen when the teacher gives you a task, and do it, and follow the class rules. And homework and tasks needs to be done regularly. It takes us to the next section, where you must be able to differentiate between certain concepts. You must be able to explain assertiveness, passiveness, and aggressiveness. An assertive person is obviously a confident person, where passiveness is people acting in a passive or aggressive way. They often do it due to a lack of self-confidence. A assertive person has got self-confidence. And aggressive people, they often have the need to show themselves, because they have a low self-esteem. So now they show off. You must be able to, you need to delve deeper into this and come up so that when you provide an answer, then it should include all what I have given you. And if you go beyond this, just make sure that you don't overstep the boundaries of the mark allocation. Now we will be focusing on the effects of bullying on learners. Bullying has got an effect. Many people who have been bullied while at school, they still feel the effects of bullying. They receive bullying, causes numerous of effects. We have the long-term and the short-term ones. If you look at the long-term ones, it's stress, depression, anxiety, anger, dropout from school, and then a feeling of worthlessness, and the worst, suicide. Long-term effects is the constant feeling of insecurity, lack of trust in others, extreme sensitivities, and mental illness, and then worse, there is revenge. Then we have the list of steps to develop healthy eating. This you must cover. It's simplify your diet, start slow, and make changes in the diet gradually. You must drink a lot of water, and then exercise regularly, and then healthy eating is about eating moderately. And then unit 3, unit here, it's the outcome that we cover there is the selected content of the junior secondary phase and related teaching methodology issues. So brain exercises, those you need to be able to elaborate on. Energy, yawn, the crawl, the cooks woke up, and then the energizer, the belly breathing, and the brain patterns. So this is what you need to focus on. You need to add meat to those. And then the smart goal setting. Selected content of the junior secondary phase and related teaching methodologies. You see this, then you should know that we are busy with goal setting. You need to make yourself nice notes on the SMART method, and just seeing that everybody knows that we are dealing with goal setting. So you will have to delve deeper into this, and let's just look at what does setting goals, what does the S is to, the goals must be specific. You can delve deeper into it. The M is for measurable, the A is for attainable, and the R is for relevant, and the T is for time bound or timely. Then the mind map. There is a mind mapping, and you need to know what is a mind map. So you will have to look at this one also. We are going to look at the reasons for procrastination, so make yourself nice notes on that to be prepared. Tasks may seem too complex and you may procrastinate. What is procrastinate? To put off for tomorrow what you can do today. When faced with tasks that seem overwhelming, break it up into smaller components and tackle each component individually. Projects or tasks viewed as being unpleasant are also often put off until a later time. Then Unit 4 is selected content for the senior secondary phase and related teaching methodology issues. Things you can do to improve your memory. Wow, this you need to look at. You can make sure you make your notes on these as well. You must eat healthy, get sufficient sleep, exercise, make time for friends and fun. Form a healthy relationship. Laughter is good for your brain. Keep your stress in check. Meditate. Deal with depression and anxiety. Do brain exercises. Use mnemonic devices to make memorization easier. Then we have also Unit 4, selected content of the senior secondary phase and related teaching methodologies. We have the type of memory, we have the sensory memory, and then we have the examples. What is sensory memory? That sensory memory records information from the sense up to 3 seconds. We have the examples they are giving, and then we have the short term, and then we have the long term memory. There is also just a reiteration there. It's the initial recording information from the senses. The two, which was also referred to previously, it's the iconic and the echoic. Then you need to distinguish between sensory memory and short-term memory. I've already spoken about it, touch it. It's your responsibility to write up your notes, to be able to draw a clear distinction between the two concepts. Dealing with the side effects of HIV treatment, you will have also to prepare yourself on this topic. Short-term side effects usually go away after a brief adjustment period, which can last from a few days to a month. You need to report the side effects to your doctor who can prescribe medication. Don't just sit there with the issue. You need to get help. Do not let the side effects take over your treatment plan. So you must stick to what the treatment plan prescribes. You need to continue with your treatment plan to decrease your viral load and prevent drug resistance. If you skip your medication just once, the virus can take the opportunity to replicate and make more HIV. Then we have, but you need also to distinct between it's the employment-based pensions and then it's the retirement annuity plans. We are still busy with Unit 4 and you must make notes to know or to give a clear indication that you know the difference between the retirement plan and the retirement annuity plan. Unit 5, we have this is now the roles and the responsibilities of the life skills teacher. The task of the life skills teacher is coordinator of the learning support group. The coordination of teachers involved in the learning support group, the LSG, promoting the importance of the learning support to all teachers, advising and monitoring all learning support group teachers, seeing to the completion of the necessary forms. This is one thing that you are really busy with by the learning support teachers for every learner in need of support, making sure the observation profile form of learners are handled confidently and are regularly updated. It's a lot that you need to do, but you need to do these things to fulfill your role as a life skills teacher. Then we continue there, the roles and the responsibilities. Then we said the purpose of the National Subject Policy Guide for Non-Promotional Subjects. Then you you have this policy document. This is the life skills policy guide. Then the purpose of the national subject policy guide for the non-promotional subject. This is the purpose. You must know this for the examination. You must know what the purpose is, to guide the subject management in the school, and basic forms of life skills program are to focus on the optimal, the holistic development of the students. The program strives to enrich the students' thinking, and it aims to develop learning with understanding and the skills and attitudes to contribute to the development of the society. So make notes so that you, when you are being asked to elaborate on the purpose of the national subject policy, you must be able to write with confidence. Unit 7, the relationships of multiple intelligences with life skills and career counseling. That is important. We have the linguistics there, we have the local mathematical, we have musical, we have intrapersonal, and we have the bodily kinesthetic, and we have the spatial. So Unit 8 is the elements of the daily classroom processes to develop life skills. So these are the importance of developing learners' self-worth, self-esteem. You must know what self-concept is. You must know that self-concept consists of 3 things, which is the self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth. Then you need to know the importance of developing learners' self-worth, and the importance thereof. There is the importance. Make sure that you take note of this and you study this. Ways to prevent disciplinary problems in your class. You need to make us write up of this as well, to be prepared to answer this question in the examination as well. We have a list there, which is the elements of the daily classroom processes to develop. Make sure you know you can write about what you see on the screen as well. This brings us to the end of the presentation, and I would like to wish you well for your examination and work through this presentation so that you can write your examination confidently. From me, good luck and stay well. Thank you.